Alaska is one of the most incredible cruise destinations on Earth, with towering glaciers, snow-capped mountains, humpback whales, and some of the most breathtaking scenery you'll find anywhere in the world. It's also one of the most expensive cruises most people will ever take, which is why before my first Alaska cruise, I did what most people do. I watched the videos, read the articles, compared the cruise lines, studied the itineraries, and convinced myself I had it all figured out. But the problem? After visiting Alaska every summer for a number of years now, I've realized that some of the Alaska cruise decisions I was the most confident about back then are the very ones I've completely changed my mind about today. So before you spend thousands of dollars planning your Alaska cruise, let's make sure you're not making the same mistakes I was. Oh, and if we haven't met yet, I'm Evan from Family at Sea. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'm glad you're here. And if you've been here a while, you already know how much I appreciate you. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. One of the biggest Alaska cruise decisions I've changed my mind about is the importance of the ship itself. When I first started planning Alaska cruises, I spent a ton of time comparing ships. Which one had the best entertainment, the best restaurants, the newest features, or the most things to do. But what I barely paid attention to was the itinerary, because at the time I assumed most Alaska cruises, well, were basically the same. As long as the ship went to Alaska, I figured the differences couldn't be that significant. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Today, when I'm planning an Alaska cruise, the itinerary is the very first thing I look at, and it's not even close. Different itineraries can mean different glaciers, different ports, different amounts of scenic cruising, and in some cases, completely different experiences. And the reality is that you'll probably remember the glacier that left you speechless, the whale that surfaced beside the ship, or the incredible day you spent exploring Alaska far longer than you'll remember whether your ship had a teppanyaki restaurant or a water slide. Now, that's not to say the ship doesn't matter, because, well, it does. I just think a lot of us spend too much time comparing ships and not enough time comparing where those ships are actually taking us. For years, I couldn't understand why so many people were willing to pay such a huge premium for a balcony cabin in Alaska. When I looked at the prices for balcony cabins were often double as much as an interior cabin, and my thinking was pretty simple. How much time am I really going to spend out there to make it worth double the cost? I figured the views would be the same whether I was sitting on my balcony or sitting up on an open deck or in an observation lounge. And technically that's true, but the thing I didn't fully appreciate was just how often Alaska gives you something worth looking at. One minute you're sailing past waterfalls, the next you're spotting whales, and then you're passing snow-capped mountains, glaciers, or some incredible stretch of coastline that wasn't even on the itinerary. So what changed my mind wasn't having a private place to sit outside, it was having Alaska available whenever I wanted it. And instead of having to grab my jacket, finding an open spot on deck, and hoping the view was still there when I got up there, all I had to do was walk out onto my balcony. Now, do I think everyone should book a balcony in Alaska? Well, no. If the extra cost means sacrificing a better itinerary or excursions you really want to do, I'd still choose those things first. But Alaska is one of the few places where I completely understand why so many people are willing to pay the premium. And speaking of spending money wisely, one mistake I see a lot of people make on Alaska cruises is focusing so much on the big decisions that they completely overlook the small things that can make or break your trip. The right binoculars can completely change your wildlife viewing experience. A good rain jacket can save an excursion. Layers become your best friend, and even simple things like portable chargers, motion sickness remedies, camera gear, and waterproof bags can make a bigger difference than most people expect. And that's why I put together an Alaska Cruise Essentials list on Amazon with all of the gear, gadgets, and travel items that I've personally found useful after more Alaska cruises than I ever thought I'd take. You definitely don't need everything on the list, but if you're trying to figure out what is actually worth packing for Alaska, it's a great place to start. And if you do happen to purchase something through one of those links, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help support the channel and allows me to keep creating great videos like this for you. I'm truly grateful for your support, y'all, so thank you. I used to think that if two cruise lines were visiting the same Alaskan ports, it really didn't matter which one I chose. After all, if both ships are stopping in Juneau, Ketchikan, and Skagway, how different could the experience actually be? But as it turns out, sometimes very different. Because one thing I never paid much attention to until then was where ships actually dock. In ports like Ketchikan and Juneau, some cruise lines regularly get prime dock locations that put you within easy walking distance of town. You just step off the ship and can start exploring immediately. But others require a shuttle ride or, in some cases, a crowded tender ride that eats into the limited time you have in port. And when you're only in Alaska for a few hours, every minute matters. And that's one of the reasons I've become a much bigger fan of cruise lines like Holland America and Princess in Alaska, because they have decades of history in the region and leverage that history and those relationships to secure the most convenient dock locations at every Alaskan port, not to mention access to Glacier Bay. If you had asked me a few years ago where to start an Alaska cruise, I would have said Seattle without hesitation. The flights are cheaper and the hotels are as well, and getting in and out of Seattle is generally easier than dealing with Vancouver or the logistics of a one-way cruise. So naturally, that's where I focused my attention. But what I didn't fully appreciate was how much the Alaska experience I was giving up in exchange for that convenience. But once you're already spending thousands of dollars on an Alaska cruise, the few $100s you save on flights or hotels will cost you far more in the experience you're giving up. Vancouver sailings give you the chance to cruise through the Inside Passage with smoother seas and better views, and they also avoid the late-night Victoria stop that Seattle's itineraries are forced to waste time on because of an outdated maritime law, which allows them more of the itinerary to focus on Alaska itself. And one-way cruises can be even better, allowing you to see more of Alaska while also giving you the opportunity to add places like Anchorage, Denali, or the Alaska Railroad before or after your cruise. On my first Alaska cruise, I thought excursions were a good thing to consider, but didn't consider them an essential part of the Alaska experience. And my thought process was simple. Alaska's ports are beautiful, so why spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on excursions when I could just walk around town and explore on my own? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But the problem is that many of Alaska's most memorable experiences aren't in town at all. The whales aren't swimming through downtown Juneau, the dog sledding camps aren't sitting beside the cruise pier, the remote glaciers, float planes, helicopters, wildlife viewing areas, and some of the most spectacular scenery in Alaska are often found well beyond where the ship docks. So what I've come to realize is that Alaska is one of the few cruise destinations where the excursions are often the most important part of the experience. When I think back on my favorite Alaska memories, they're rarely the times I spent walking around a port. They're the dog sledding trips, the helicopter flights, the glacier experiences, and the adventures that got me beyond the tourist shops and into Alaska itself. Now, that doesn't mean you need to book an expensive excursion in every port, but if you're trying to decide where to spend your money, I've completely changed my mind on this one. I'd rather save money on almost anything else than miss out on the experiences that make Alaska feel like Alaska. When I was planning my first Alaska cruise, I didn't understand why so many people were obsessed with Glacier Bay. I mean, a glacier is a glacier, right? As long as the cruise visited one of the major glacier viewing areas, I figured the experience would be more or less the same. And that's one thing I've completely changed my mind on. What makes Glacier Bay special isn't just the glaciers themselves, it's the entire experience. You're sailing through a protected national park that's larger than some states. Park rangers come on board, wildlife surrounds you in every direction, and the scenery starts long before you reach the glaciers and continues long after you've left them behind. And unlike many glacier visits that focus on a single glacier for only a few hours, Glacier Day is an all-day event. Now, the glaciers are certainly impressive, but they're only part of what makes the experience memorable. Now, does that mean you can't have an amazing Alaska cruise without Glacier Bay? Of course not. I've had wonderful Alaska cruises that never even got close to Glacier Bay. But I used to see Glacier Bay as a nice bonus if they happened to be included. But today, it's one of the very first things I look for. Because after experiencing it for myself, I've come to believe that Glacier Bay isn't just another glacier stop, it's one of the best moments you'll ever experience in Alaska. But the bad news, not every cruise line in Alaska has access to Glacier Bay. The good news, I put together an entire video explaining exactly what makes Glacier Bay so special, what a day there is really like, and whether it's worth changing your Alaska cruise plans just to experience it. So don't stop here, watch that one next, and I'll show you exactly what makes Glacier Bay unlike anywhere else in Alaska. I'll see you over there. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.